Hi, friends. Welcome to lesson 2 of our new knowledge domain, History of the Earth. And the name of our lesson today is Earth Inside Out. So we met Jerry the geologist yesterday. And give me a thumbs up if you remember what a geologist does. Yeah, a geology studies the history of rocks and what they can tell us. And if you do remember that Jerry said that our Earth is made up of mostly rock. And I want you to think about what we call that imaginary line that runs through the center of the globe around the middle. It's called the equator, right? And it separates the northern hemisphere from the southern hemisphere. Nice. And then there is a line that runs from the North Pole, from the South Pole, that the Earth rotates on its axis. And it takes a year for our Earth to rotate around the sun, revolve around the sun. All right. So we have some vocabulary words that we need to go over before we find out what is inside the earth. So if we look at our vocabulary words, our first word is core. And we're talking about the core, the center of the earth. And there's actually an inner core and an outer core that you'll be learning about, but it is the core. Our next word is crust. So, in the last couple of lessons, we learned about the crust is what we walk on the earth. It's the outside, the hard, thick outer covering of the earth. So it shows that this is the crust. This is what we see on the outside, and it's not very thick. Our next word is eroded, and you can see how these formations here have been eroded away by wind and water, and you're left with these pinnacles. And we also visited the Grand Canyon to see how the Colorado River eroded the canyon away. But it's taken a really long time to do that. Our next word is layer. So a layer of something is a part that lies over or under. So those are layers. And this is a great picture of the different layers of the earth. So here's the crust on the outside. And then you have the upper and lower mantles and the inner and outer core. And we're not going to need to know all of those, just as long as you know that we've got the crust, the mantle, and the core, then we're good. And our last word that we need to know is mantle. So the mantle is the layer of the earth between the crust and the core. So it's crust, mantle, core, and you're good to go on that one. So those are the words that we will be studying and hearing about in our read aloud. So we're back here with Jerry the geologist, and I am going to be turning off my camera while we learn more about what is inside our Earth. But I will be back as we end the lesson. Here we go. Part 1. Hello, Jerry the geologist here again. I woke up this morning and started digging this hole in the ground. Each time I push my shovel into the earth, I bring up a load of soil. And I've noticed that each load of soil always has a few rocks in it. I'm digging this hole today to teach you about the outer layer of the earth. So, friends, do you remember what that outer layer is called? It's called the crust. If you think around about the crust on a piece of bread, it is the outer layer of bread. The earth has layers, sort of like a sheet and a blanket are different layers of covers on a bed. So keep in mind about other things that might have layers. Beneath your backyard, the sidewalk, the school, the playground. Actually, beneath almost every place people live, there is soil, sometimes called dirt. Different types of soil appear in the earth in layers. Each layer of soil is made of different things, which can give it a different color or a different texture. And the texture is what it feels like when you touch it. The thickness of the soil is different depending on where you live. In some places on earth, the soil is several feet thick. In other places on the earth, it's just a few inches. And in some places on the earth, there is no soil at all. Here, where I live, the soil is rich and dark near the surface. However, as I dig deeper into the earth, I can see a definite change in color. Here, the word change means to become or to make different. The color in this soil has changed from dark brown to bright red. That color change means I have reached a layer of reddish clay. It's getting a little harder to dig now, so I'll have to use my pickaxe. So, friends, if you can see, we've got the soil underneath here, and then it turns bright red. Oh, look, he's got his pickaxe. Clank! My pick just hit something really hard below the red clay. The farther down I go, the harder the clay becomes. Pretty soon I will hit bedrock, a solid layer of rock that I won't be able to dig through with my shovel. I dug this hole to show you that there are different layers of soil and rock beneath your feet. The farther you go into the earth, the more things change. The dark soil on top is fairly easy to dig into with a shovel, but the deeper layer of clay is harder to dig because it has been compacted or squished by the weight of everything above it. Remember, pressure is one of the three words that Jerry said we should keep in mind. Pressure or pushing from top layers is one reason deeper layers of soil are harder to dig. So, friends, those three words, it was heat, pressure, and time. Oh, and this is a great picture of our layers of the earth, isn't it, friends? So, if we think about it, we live right up here, North America in the United States. So this skinny layer here is called it's called the crust. And then we have the mantle, and then we have the cores. This diagram shows you what the inside of the earth would look like if you could cut out a big chunk of it. The crust is the outermost layer of the earth, represented here by a thin brown line. I've been digging into the very outermost portion of the crust today. Most of the earth is rock, and most of that rock is beneath the crust in other three layers: the mantle in red, the core in orange, and the inner core in yellow. The distance from the surface, where you and I live, all the way to the middle of the core is nearly 4,000 miles. Wow, friends. So that's about the distance from us to New York City. So crust, mantle, core, inner core. This is one thick planet we have. I will teach you more about the mantle, outer core, and inner core next time. But for now, let's focus on the thinnest layer, the crust. The Earth's crust is between 3 and 20 miles deep, depending on where you are on Earth. Most people, plants, and animals live on the surface or the outermost edge of the crust. Remember, the Earth's surface is covered by oceans and continents. Everything alive on Earth lives on, in, or above these oceans and continents on the crust. For example, you and your dog live on the crust. Worms and moles live underground or in the crust. Birds fly in the air above the crust, and fish swim in the water that is flowing on the crust. That's kind of interesting to think about. I don't think I ever thought about that before. Ooh, look where Jerry the geologist is now. Wowza. The crust is where geologists like me look to learn about the history of the Earth. In the crust, we find different layers of rock which teach us about different periods of time in the Earth's history. And remember, the Earth is over 4.5 billion years old. Each layer of rock was formed different during a different period of time in the Earth's history. So we can study each layer to learn more about each period in time. And here we go back to one of my favorite places. We've learned about this, haven't we? You can really see the different layer in this one, friends. Look at these different time periods, how they change color in all of the lines. Geologists search the crust for clues about the history of the Earth. I already introduced you to this place called the Grand Canyon. Here, the geology of the Earth's crust sits like an open book waiting to be read. An open book is a saying that means it's easy to learn about and understand. Layer upon layer of different rock tells the geologist when this place was covered with a cool ocean and when it was not. The Grand Canyon makes it easy for geologists to learn about the Earth's crust because all of the layers are visible and easy to see. So if you think about it, friends, remember if this is the crust up here, below the crust is already opened for us to see and examine. Geological or earth changes can do all sorts of tricky things to the rocks on the Earth's crust. These formations in Arches National Park in the state of Utah show what thousands of years of wind and rain and ice can do to this type of stone. Looks like it's going to fall over and break, doesn't it? Ooh, look at this. Some rocks are mysterious. This rock is called Uluru or Ayers Rock in Australia. It is the only tall thing in an otherwise flat, barren grassland in the middle of Australia. Geologists have figured out that this is a remnant left over from time when the entire surface was covered in this type of rock. So, friends, you can't tell how big that rock is, but it is absolutely huge. A remnant is something left over or remaining. Eventually, all the other rock eroded due to wind and rain, and only this one mound of rock remained. Wind and rain wore away all of the other rock. So I wonder, why did this rock not become eroded? And if I can remember, I'm going to make myself a note right now to look for Ayers Rock on Google Earth when we are done. All right. Oh, this is beautiful too. People usually, different places tell different stories. Not all interesting rocks are above ground. This photo was taken down in a cave, which is a large hole or space underground. A cave is basically an area in the Earth's crust that has been hollowed out for one reason or another, usually as a result of underground water flowing in and dissolving the rock over millions of years. Caves are really amazing places to explore. Give me a thumb up if you've ever been in a cave. Ooh, so have I. Some pretty good ones. People usually do not think too much about what is happening underground, deep below our feet, but the fact is that what happens deep underground has everything to do with what we see in the world around us. Next time, we will take a closer look at what's happening in those other layers. I'd better go ahead and fill in this hole now. See you later. Okay, friends, so let me show my camera. So we learned some interesting things about these different layers that we can see that are right below us. But let me see. I think I kept Google Earth open. I did. So let's see if we can go to Ayers Rock. Here we go. Ayers Rock. Australia, Ayers Rock Airport. There we go. Let's see if this is it. Here we go. Uluru. Oh, that's a much better picture of it. This one right up here. Oh, yes. So can you guys see how flat everything is around it? And then there's this huge park, and this is actually a national park. I want to zoom out so that you can take a look at the ground around it, and you can see that it just looks like a bunch of dry dirt. Let's see how far we can zoom out before that changes. Oh my goodness, getting so far away. There's another national park over there. Oh, look at all these national parks. Desert Regional Reserve. So that is a lot of desert, but I'm going to zoom in again so we can go back, and we're going to put our little person on Ayers Rock and see what we can see. See, so it's still really flat. Uluru. And now you can finally see how it's taking shape. But if you look at this picture, this is incredible. You can actually hike to the top, but I understand it's pretty darn steep. So give me a thumb up if you think we should try to drop our little person right on the top. You think we should do it? I think we should do it. Let's do it. Okay, so here's our little person. We're going to put our little person on top. Oh, look, those are the hiking trails, friend. Boop. Let's see what we can see. Oh, we're going to turn to the side. Yeah. Oh, wow. Look, there's some people there taking pictures. Let's follow the path. Let's see if we can get up even further. So there's the path. Let's see if we can go across the bridge. Okay, we got across the bridge. Let's see where else we can go. Let's see if we can go between these rocks. Let's see if we can go down by these people. I'm thinking there it's not going to let us go any farther because the arrow is now pointing the other way. So I am guessing that we can't get to the top. Yep, that's as much as we can do. Okay, so, but there's the top of it. That's way up there. Oh, and look at the erosion in the sides of this. Isn't that beautiful? Wow. And then as you can see, it's just flat everywhere. It is just flat. So I'm sorry, friends, that we can't go to the top. But anyway, so we will go on to part 2 of the lesson next time, and we will find more about the inside of our earth. But until then, friends, have a great day.